Ding dong! Recombinant DNA, restrictor enzyme. A few minutes later.
What if this technology is used to make poisonous foods? Won't we all become dependent on these foods? What about the animals they test on? I've got to ask them.
Alex and Alexon.
Hi, I just read your new pamphlet regarding recombinant DNA technology. I have a few ethical concerns and questions I'd like to ask.
Okay, sounds like something for our ethics department. Why don't you leave your name and they'll call you back within 24 hours?
All right, my name is My Melody, 2 words, and my last name is Ow.
Alright, my melody. They'll call you back within 24 hours. 24 hours later. Ding! 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 Hi, my melody. I'm Timmy from Alex and Alexon's ethics department. Thank you for your call. We take ethical concerns very seriously at our company, and I'm happy to answer any ethical questions you may have.
Hi, Timmy. Thank you for reaching back out to me. My first ethical concern regards the lack of transparency, as foods that have been modified with rDNA technology do not have to be labeled, meaning customers can't avoid rDNA foods. I feel like this lack of transparency risks the safety of customers.
That's a very valid concern. Whenever a new genetically edited food wants to be sold, it undergoes a rigorous review process. This means that even though our DNA technology is not labeled, all the food in the market is equally safe and does not create a risk for customers.
Can you tell me what the rigorous review process involves?
Certainly, Health Canada follows guidelines called Guidelines for the Safety Assessment of Novel Foods for all foods with rDNA technology, which checks for toxins, allergens, chemical considerations, and even the environmental impacts.
That sounds impressive, but how can we be sure the research is done properly and thorough enough?
After being assessed by Health Canada, all new products are also reviewed by the Food Standards Board of Australia and New Zealand as part of a collaborative agreement to ensure accuracy. Regarding thoroughness, the current process was developed with expert consultation from the World Health Organization, the United Nations, and the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Once again, all the food is equally safe and poses no safety risk to consumers. If you still aren't sure, all products labeled as organic do not contain rDNA technology.
I see. Secondly, I have a societal concern that rDNA research will create food that outcompetes natural foods and will allow a few biotech companies to control all the food sources. I read that just 4 biotech companies already control 56% of the global seed market. I don't want to pay higher prices to greedy companies.
The thought of higher prices is daunting to everyone, but the Competition Bureau of Canada prevents monopolies and price fixing. Just last year, Loblaws, Sobeys, and Walmart were all caught illegally increasing the price of bread and paid out $500 million in fines.
Even if prices don't rise, I still want there to be alternatives to rDNA food from large companies.
Don't worry that society will become dependent on rDNA foods from large companies. Already 75% of Canadian food products contain at least one genetically modified ingredient. However, we still always see plenty of organic fruit, vegetable, egg, and meat alternatives. In other words, rDNA technology may create better foods, but the Competition Bureau will ensure that this won't lead to higher prices or a societal dependence on large companies.
Got it. Lastly, I'm worried about the ethical issues regarding using animals to test rDNA modifications. I read one case where a failed rDNA experiment created many rats with liver and kidney failure and tumors. They must have been in so much pain.
Regarding rDNA testing on animals, guidelines are set by the Canadian Council on Animal Care, which is a federal nonprofit that oversees the use of animals in scientific research.
Sure, they set guidelines, but will that actually change anything?
Yes, it will. The Council relies on three principles called the three R's: reducing the number of animal use, refining practices to minimize pain and distress, and the replacement of animals with non animal alternatives wherever possible. In fact, the goal is the eventual elimination of research on animals.
And what happens if researchers don't follow the guidelines?
If they don't, they lose their certification and all federal funding. Also, the Canadian Food Inspection Agency will prevent any of their food products from being sold. These harsh penalties mean that research in rDNA technology is conducted as ethically and as with few animals as possible.
Thank you.
And if you have any more questions regarding the ethical or societal impacts of rDNA research and technology, we're always happy to answer. Will that be all for today?
Yes, the ethics of rDNA research feel a lot better now knowing that we have checks and balances in place to protect customers and animals. You're such a great guy.
I'm not a guy. It's 2026. I'm actually a genetically modified tangerine powered by nice AI.
Good one. Have a great day.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
This video is sponsored by Monsanto.